Monday morning podcast for May the 26th, and I'm actually recording this on a Tuesday. I missed last week, just didn't get around to doing the podcast. Actually, not 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 necessarily giving up on doing these at the moment. Continuing to experiment with the podcast concept and the Monday morning podcast concept. Um, yeah, I just want to play around with YouTube a bit. I'm not a big YouTuber. I don't know that I ever will be. And I was talking to my wife as we took one of our dogs to the vet today about how I think YouTube won't be around in 5 years. What a bold statement, huh? Um, I just think a lot of things are going to happen in the next 5 years, and AI is driving that a lot. So AI is a very interesting development for us all, and it's kind of weird though. I think I think I think it's going to be good, but you have these people who actually are really scared of what AI can potentially do to the extent of ex- extinction of humanity. I mean, that's one area or one side of the spectrum. And then the other side, you have these optimists and pessimists. I guess on the pessimist side, it's you've got some people who are fairly highly regarded in the tech space and AI space who are concerned about uh, the negative potential of AI. And then you have the eternal optimists, of which Sam Altman from OpenAI is, the poster child for that. The interesting thing is a gentleman who left OpenAI who is on the exact opposite side of this optimistic, pessimistic spectrum. And I don't know. I mean, what are us small business owners to think? Um, so here's my take on it. You got to play with it, and I think you've got to pick a specific AI platform, to play around with. Don't get too distracted on all the different types of them. So I've been all in on OpenAI and ChatGPT for the past couple of years now. I do use Gemini a little bit, especially their notebook LLM, to produce what I call AI podcasts. So I have Amy and Ian, who are my AI conversationalists who produce podcasts for me. And I've got a couple on the MI6 site. But I think the potential is very, very great in the short term in terms of increasing productivity, and also taking vast amounts of information and helping you process it, understand it, diagnose it, and make decisions. So a couple of interesting things I've done around it. I have developed a custom GPT that will assess a college or university's curriculum against the UN SDG goals. So you can take a curriculum overview, um, put it into this chat GPT, and it will come back with basically an alignment report, indicating what SDG goals are being covered in the course, where there are gaps, and recommendations on how to improve or to fill those gaps. It's been interesting. There's been some degree of what do they call it, hallucination activities taking place and some inconsistencies. But we did test it on a client, and I think it went fairly well. Not sure what to do with it next, though. but that's for another discussion. The other tool that I've developed is, I've always been using work journals for clients and for our ventures. So whether it be what we're doing with Area 81 or MI6 more broadly, because I wanted to get my thoughts on paper, basically. You know how you basically write in a book, whether it's a physical journal or a digital journal. But how often do we go back and reflect on, what it is we wrote yesterday, last week, last month, last year, etc.? And how do you index it? I mean, it just becomes a bunch of information that you never actually refer back to. I guarantee you there's hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of people that make notes and then never actually go back to their notes. So I produced an agent, what I call the work journal agent, where I can do live updates in terms of conversations I'm having. And I've configured it and trained it to sort of act as a co-founder and as an analyst, and to provide insights on what it's seen in terms of my patterns of things I've been thinking about, people I've been talking to, key insights that I've written down or recorded. And it becomes what I call a live work journal. And it helps, and it diagnoses it. So in some cases, it basically said after I diagnosed 51 pages of my work journal, which was a Google Doc. And I basically came with a bunch of observations about, maybe I'm taking on too much, and I'm not focused enough, maybe creating undue anxiety, that sort of stuff. So scary in some ways, but kind of interesting too, and I want to be on the cutting edge. Not on the bleeding edge necessarily, but on the leading edge of using AI for productivity, for venture development, entrepreneurial success, even personal success, that sort of stuff, and see how far I can push it, use it, and then, apply it to the things that I'm doing for my own ventures and also for our clients and members of Area 81. So that's been a very interesting couple of weeks working on that. It's led me to rethink about the content that we're producing on the MI6 site. So I'm actually going to stop doing certain types of posts because I'm not getting any value back to the business. There are people that are going and reading those posts and getting value, but it's not converting into value for my business. So in any business model, you got to do three things when it comes to value. You got to create it, you got to deliver it, and you got to capture it. And I'm just not capturing any value. So I'm creating some content that's of value to other people that are coming to read it. And I'm delivering that value through a blog post, but it's not converting into any form of value. No engagement, no shares, nobody filling out my contact form, nobody subscribing. It's just useless. So I'd like to experiment on ourselves first before we implement things for our clients and for Area 81 members. So that's what I've been working on. So our dog got sprayed by a skunk today, and it is the most vile smell that you will ever experience. Creates tons of anxiety in the house. The dog's upset, everybody's upset, the house smells, and I'm so grateful that it's happened before and we kind of know how to deal with it, but not a great day. Yeah, the last thing I'll say, maybe this is going to be a short one. The last thing I'll say is we have a special event coming up on the 30th called May Day. And May Day sort of has a dual definition, let's say. So May Day in Europe is seen as a time of renewal, of new growth, of springtime, all of the things you associate to that time of the year. Fresh thinking, fresh everything, new crops growing, et cetera, et cetera. But the other side of that is, when you think of May Day, you think Pearl Harbor, um, bad things happening. So what I'm doing is I've got about 15 entrepreneurs that are going to come to an Area 81 member's home. And we're doing three things. First of all, we're testing what a farm to fork meal would be like. So we have a professional chef that is going to be preparing a wonderful meal for us. And the task was for her to source locally produced food, produce a menu, and then cook it for us. So hence the term farm to fork. I think she calls it dirt to dinner as well. And it's part of an experiment we're doing to see how easy it is for a person, whether it be a chef or just a consumer, to source food locally from farmers and create a meal out of it. And this is part of one of the ventures that's going through our early stage venture program for Area 81. Just we want to learn, how easy is it? What's the use case? How easy is it to define them? Was it simple? Was it difficult? What was the experience in getting all the food? That sort of thing. In fact, this professional cook forgot to pick up the duck fat from the local farmer, so I had to drive down into Owen Sound to the library and pick it up from Jason over the weekend. Happy to do it, sort of thing. But it's an interesting test. So the other thing we're doing is we're basically going to be looking at some key mandate, the mandate letter from the Prime Minister of Canada in terms of where he wants to take Canada, in terms of us becoming more self-sufficient as a country, in terms of our economic prosperity, so reducing our dependency on the US as an example. And then there's an organization called Build Canada, which is led by a bunch of tech-related Canadian entrepreneurs. And they have their own set of mandate letters for all the different ministers, key ministers in Carney's cabinet. I have mixed feelings about this organization. They kind of feel a bit like a tech bro type of organization, kind of like stuff that's happening in the US. It feels a bit like a carbon copy version, of these influential, I would argue, elite entrepreneurs, top 1%ers, how they're trying to maybe influence the government in terms of where we should go, in terms of ventures, entrepreneurship, and overall the economic prosperity of Canada. So we're going to be talking about those mandate letters, both the Prime Minister's and Build Canada's, in the context of, what is it that we can do in the next year in Grey Bruce, for example, to accelerate entrepreneurship and venture development based on, the macro things that are happening in Canada, some of the urban entrepreneurs, let's say, that are influencing direction, and also what we know about Grey Bruce in terms of some of the strengths and weaknesses of the area. So I've got about 15 entrepreneurs of varying types from varying industries, all who are involved with Area 81. Really looking forward to it. And we'll have specific projects or ideas that we'll, for lack of a better word, sign up to in order to pursue in the next year. So I'm really excited about that. So I think that's good enough for today. Thanks for listening to my Monday morning podcast, which I recorded on a Tuesday, and looking forward to the next one.